Now to do the image gallery thing you wanted to do, I need to introduce the concept of variables. Remember how we had before for the paragraph? ID paragraph. A paragraph. And I was changing the properties and I wrote it twice. One for the color, one for the background color yellow. You can see the paragraph. Oops. Paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. Okay, you can see the paragraph there. Notice I wrote the same thing twice, right? Which would be kind of tedious if I keep writing the same thing over and over. So if you don't want to write the same thing, you can actually store this value somewhere to be reused over and over. And that's the concept of variables. So the syntax is const space, oops, all lowercase. Any name you want, let's say paragraph element, and then double equals, and then the right-hand side is what you want to assign to this variable. Let me copy this. So let's walk through this. So whatever is returned by get element by ID, in this case, the P, we can store that somewhere to reference later. And to do that, we do use variables. So I created this variable. I call it paragraph element. You can call it any way, any name you want. The syntax is, like I said, you have an equal sign. The right-hand side is the new value, and the left-hand side is what you want to assign to. Now we need to have the const because that's the syntax for JavaScript. Const meaning this is something constant that is only defined once. Once we have this name, we can reference anywhere we want. So in this case, line 3, when I say, I can have the, you see it's the same thing in the right-hand side, right? So I can replace this whole thing with just paragraph element. Okay, notice there's no quotes around it because this does not mean literally like the word paragraph element. This means something special, and that something special is the paragraph element variable that stores a reference or pointer, something that's pointing to the paragraph element here. Okay, so that's why before I told you about strings, that if you want the literal word red, for example, you have to have the quotes. Otherwise, it would think, oh, it's trying to think, where's the variable called red? I don't see it defined anywhere previously. Okay, so you always have to have quotes around it if you want the literal word red. Now, you see, we did line 4, the same thing. So we can just reuse that variable. So what happens is here, more details, is it always runs the program from the top to the bottom, right? So we're in line 1, and okay, we get the element by ID, and we put that inside paragraph element. Now, the benefit of doing this is we only do this operation once, whereas if you had this here, line 3, line 4, it would try to find the element once. It would try to find the element again twice. So it's doing 2 separate operations. Whereas if I have the variable, I only did it once, and I don't need to do that operation again. Go through the document, search for that element. And that's another benefit of variables. When you want to reuse values, you don't have to compute them again or do an operation again. Also helps with readability. If you name your variables a very descriptive name. So usually you want to give a very descriptive name for the thing you're storing to actually mean it, right? Don't write just, oh, okay, I'm going to write variable A and then say a.style, a.color. What is A? This is not a good name because when you read it, you don't understand what it is. You have to dig through it and take a lot of time just to understand what this means. That's why we always want to give descriptive names to variables so we understand right away what they mean.